Hello, we're talking today about our small claims court initiative at Banking Law Advisor to help ordinary people fight back against the injustices done by large institutions, particularly banks, debt collectors and others, sheriffs, who are part of the repossession financial system. According to our clients, many banks and others don't really have much of a concept of doing the right thing. Unless it's expensive for the bank to do the wrong thing, according to our clients, the banks will continue to do these wrong things. So the trouble is, as many of our clients tell us, lawyers are expensive, and although we try and spread payments out and charge a bit less and give fixed prices and so on, you know, getting a lawyer involved to represent you does cost money. And not everything needs a lawyer, or at least that's what we're trying to demonstrate. So in many cases, banks do things against you that are very disturbing for you, but relatively small in monetary terms. So the Small Claims Court provides a solution to these kind of problems. In the Small Claims Court, the limit is 15,000 Rand. You can't claim more than 15,000 Rand, but it has the advantage that even if you lose, you cannot get costs awarded against you. One of the big problems with going to court, especially in the High Court, but even in the Magistrates Court, is if you lose against the bank, and remember the banks usually have pretty good lawyers, then you have to pay their costs, which could be in the High Court tens of thousands of rands, even sometimes hundreds of thousands, and in the Magistrates Court, you know, something like that, tens of thousands, maybe a bit less. And then in the Small Claims Court, even if you lose, there's nothing further to pay except maybe a few hundred Rand for sheriff's costs or whatever. So this is a big advantage. Now, if there's no lawyers in the Small Claims Court, so you're not allowed to bring one with you, you just go yourself, and then the bank or the debt collector or the sheriff comes, somebody from their office comes. Now the problem with the bank is it will probably be a lawyer that works for the bank, but at the same time that doesn't mean the court won't decide in your favour. Now if thousands and thousands of people across the country start bringing small claims actions against the bank, then just the cost of having to send their good people to the Small Claims Court thousands of times a year is going to make the bank think, well, maybe we should just do the right thing instead of everybody suing us for doing the wrong thing. Now what we've done, and we'll do more and more, is to draft like precedents, templates, and an indication for different cases. So all you really need to do is fill in the blanks and tell a bit more of your story. Now the Small Claims Court is in any case tolerant of mistakes and things that don't work out. But it's better obviously if you've got something that looks a little bit legal and does hit the right buttons. So you can go onto our website and completely for free download these Small Claims Court summonses and use them, adapting them for your own purposes. So I think a lot of people, when they come to legal things, they don't know where to start. So this should give you a starting point. So bankinglawadvisor.coza is where these small claims summonses will be, and some of the government's own literature on how to do a small claims court action will also be there. If you have some money, it might be a good idea to come to us or to some other lawyer for a consult at least, which won't cost you very much. Once you've got your case written down, and we can maybe give you some advice in an hour or something on how best to go about with your case. So this is what we're trying to do, provide a whole lot of free stuff so that people can fight back against injustice in the banking system. So feel free to forward this video to anyone you think it might benefit. Now, in the Small Claims Court, only if you're an individual person can you use it. You can't use it if you're a company. So if you're, or a trust even, it appears. So if your house is in a company or a trust, then you can't use this method. As far as jurisdiction goes, there's a small claims court at just about every magistrates court. I think at every magistrates court, but I'm not sure exactly. It's certainly in the big cities. So that is where you would file your case. Now, before you file your case, you must send the bank or the debt collector, the sheriff, a letter of demand saying, please pay me this amount that you owe me for all the trouble that you've caused me. And we'll talk in another video about how to quantify the amount that they owe you and how to argue that. We'll give you some more documentation on that at some stage. Now, how to decide which magistrates court to use, there's two bases. The safe one is to do it where the defendant, the person that you're against, the bank or the debt collector or whatever, sheriff, has their place of business. You can, so the downtown Joburg, for example, is the head offices of many banks, but obviously if you live in Durban or Cape Town or Bloemfontein, that's not really going to work. So the second way to find jurisdiction is where the cause of action arose. So whatever you're arguing about, whatever you're wanting compensation for, where did that happen? Did it happen in a banking branch? Did it happen at a local sheriff's office? Did it happen at a local branch of the debt collector? So if you're not sure, just file wherever you think is reasonable. And then, worst case scenario, you'll go to the hearing and they'll say, sorry, this small claims court doesn't have jurisdiction, file it here. And of course there's no costs, so you've brought the banking people out and you're now going to have to file it in another court. And so nothing really lost in the banks. You've imposed a cause on the bank. I'm not saying you should do this flippantly, but the idea is that the bank learns that being unreasonable and vexatious doesn't pay in South Africa. So you can't really use this strategy when the bank's already sued you, because then they'll say, well, this case is already going on in another court. But you can, if they've sued you unjustly, say they've made 3 or 4 summonses instead of just one, then even once they withdraw them, you can come to the small claims court for compensation against that kind of wrongdoing. But we'll talk in another video about all the things that you can possibly do and what precedents and templates we're drafted or we're going to draft. So remember, you've got to send a letter of demand first, then you send them the summons. You can do that with the sheriff if you like. It's usually preferable. It'll cost you 200 Rand or something. Or you can just take it yourself and you can give an affidavit and if you get them to sign for it, that's ideal. Registered mail is also one of the methods you can use in this context. But you've got to be able to prove that they've got it, otherwise you won't get judgment if they don't turn up. When you go to the small claims court, you're up against the judge is actually what's known as a commissioner, and it's much less formal than a normal court, so you don't need to be scared. He or she will assist you to put your case forward. They'll ask you questions. It's much easier than going to normal court. It's much less formal. So feel free to forward this to anyone you think might need it. Feel free to talk to my staff about coming for a consultation if you feel you need a little bit more help. But to do this is 10 times, 100 times cheaper than a case in the High Court, or even a lot cheaper than one in the Magistrates Court. And so if you feel disempowered, if you feel that you've not been able to strike back against banks that have done bad things to you, well, here's a way to do it. So I think this is quite exciting. I hope you find it useful, and I'll speak to you more in the future. Thank you.